Greetings, kings and queens.
Day, everybody. Gods and goddesses, proud African men and women. Welcome to another episode of the Afro Trinity. Today, my brother Karen and I are real proud and excited to have another former success pupil with us.
Success Lab until 1997.
Hi,
this was my senior prefect, eh?
Head prefect.
Head prefect, sorry. She was my head prefect, eh? In 1997. We battered it.
Oh, gosh.
Full compliment.
I am success, we are success.
success.
Yes?
We are success.
So introduce yourself to...
Sure, I'll be happy to. My name is Safiya Johnson, and it's a pleasure to be with you guys on the Afro Trinity View, where we're going to talk about things affecting Africans in Trinidad and Tobago and how we could band together to be better as people.
Sure.
So I'm excited to be here.
Aye. We didn't prep. She chose that to say.
Yeah,
We didn't say nothing, right?
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about you and what you just do now.
Sure. So I'm a leadership strategist, and I help executives and managers, executive teams, become better leaders in the workplace, and it can be in any kind of organization. What we find is that there's a real leadership issue in life, and we are seeing the impact of it coming through. We have people who hate to go to work, people crying to go to work, and it's simply because of a leadership issue.
Right.
If you look through the society, you would see leadership issues in government. You're going to see it in the communities. You're going to see it in family. Leadership is the single most influential factor in any environment, and that's why I absolutely love it. And so I'm the CEO also of Safiya Group, and we are an agency that provides accounting services, HR services, and strategic planning alongside the leadership services as well. So,
All right.
yeah, that's what I do.
So, immediately, all of you in success,
Yes.
right? How you end up in this field? I mean, it's not something that would have been immediately shown to us.
No, I will tell you. So I'm a chartered accountant by profession, right? So after I did accounting in Success, and I went on and I continued to do it, I did ACCA, so I'm an FCCA now, and I absolutely loved accounting at one point in time.
Right.
But I remember in one particular job, I was being promoted from chief accountant to chief financial officer, first time being a CFO. And I was promoted based on my accounting experience, my accounting qualifications. But then when I became the CFO, only 10% of my time was actually spent doing accounting. Most of my time was spent leading people.
Okay.
And I didn't know how to do it. And I looked at the CEO, and I looked at the board, and I looked around the departments, and I recognized organizations rise and fall based on who the leader is. And nobody really takes time to prepare our leaders and give them the tools to do well. And that's how I got into it. I went and I studied it at the master's level. And then I did a lot of research. Even in Trinidad and Tobago, I did some research for my master's. And the findings were phenomenal. I mean, to see the impact of leadership in societies, I mean, it's amazing.
And how do you tie back that to the African community in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, let me say this. Aristotle, he said, humans are the most imitative of creatures on the planet.
Right.
And we learn first by imitation.
Right.
And you don't even have to do anything. Whomever is coming up behind you will follow you automatically. The next side of imitation is leadership, because you have to imitate somebody.
Right.
And so there are many people, parents, coaches, teachers, that are leaders that people are imitating and they don't even recognize it.
Yes.
So what you find in the African community, we weren't even aware that we were passing on the things that were in us. We didn't stop to treat with the issues within us and what our history, the residue of our history.
Yes.
And what we did is we automatically passed those things down successfully to our children. And they just went and replicate the issues that we had.
Right.
And it takes a generation to stop and say, listen, I want a different future. I want to represent myself differently. And so I teach and I lead a different way. So those coming behind me will imitate something differently. So that way now, from where we are, we could touch the future. That's what leadership is. And I think in the African community, we need to be more conscious about what we are doing. I often tell my clients, inaction is an action. And no decision is a decision. And nothing is something if you're doing it.
Yes.
So you can't say that you're not going to do anything. You can't say you're not going to say anything. You can't say you're not going to do anything, because that and all will pass.
Yes.
So leadership is a very powerful thing. But it's almost silent. People don't recognize it. I'll tell you the statistics. The statistic. Sociologists said that they say that even an introvert will influence as much as 10,000 people in their lives. And introverts as extroverts as much as 80,000. I mean, talking about influencers and people who talking about regular people.
Regular people, yeah.
So 10,000 people through your lifetime, you have the opportunity to touch and influence, and you do nothing. You say nothing. You represent nothing. What a travesty. And because of that natural ability to influence, I believe we have a duty to influence. We have a duty to lead. We have a duty to speak. Yes. We have a duty, like how you would do it through your clothing. You made that conscious decision. This is what I'm going to represent. You do not allow yourself to exist and things to happen to you, because then those becoming behind you will do the same.
The same.
That's how leadership works. That's how leadership works. You see it in families. You see it in nations. That's why nations struggle. Look at even the reputation of America. You have Obama, you have Trump, you have Biden. The entire country takes on a feel.
Yes.
Based
A
on who it is.
persona.
Yeah, I agree.
Based on who the leader is. And I research that even in organizations locally, and the organization takes on the persona and personality of its leader.
That's a fact. Because when I was at Digicel, I'll always remember when we had this guy, John Dells. So before him, the company had a kind of, I don't want to say old, right? But that's what it felt like. Because I was young. I was 20 something, going on 30 something into Digicel, right? And I was like, all right. But when John came into the environment, the whole aura of the company changed, because John was 35 or 36, I think it was. And that just transcended straight down to the security I'm talking about.
Yes.
You felt the difference. The company just became vibrant. Well, God, marketing had a mass with that. Because they were like, wow, we get an opportunity here with a young man, let me go.
Yes.
You understand? And you felt the difference in terms of that. So, and you're quite right. I had to talk to my children recently, not even my children, but my parents. Because I started to see my father coming through me.
You see?
And I was like, nah, boy. No, my father is who he is. He did what he did. He's still my father and I love him. Right? I want to make that absolutely clear. I may not, I might have things I wanted to change about him. But the fact of the matter is, mommy would say certain things sometimes, you know. And then I would be like, yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that had an effect on me. You understand? And it is starting to affect my children. Because I now have to say, hey, no, I gotta stop. Which is what she just said. And it's so hard because it's a conscious decision you have to make to change that behavior. Because if you don't, I have 3 boys, right? So automatically they're talking about mantle coming down. And I cannot send my boys out into this world the way how it has been happening.
Right.
Because they don't have no idea how to treat women. They have no idea how to treat their mothers, the females in authority. I have a problem with my son with that. And I had to break him in front of his teacher because his teacher is female. And I said, listen, when you leave my house, this woman is your mother, you know. I said, you have to show her the respect. Your boys, the boys in your class, they're your peers, they're your brothers. You can't disrespect them and thing. And after that, I saw a change in my son that I could not even, just that little thing, just a little tweak. And I said, nah, boy. So now for me, my fatherhood is my first step of leadership.
Yes.
And then everything follows after that. The business, school, wherever. You know, so you're quite right. And I'm real happy you come to talk to you about this because I'm telling you, this is a cog that is missing in our community.
And we was, as we was discussing before we come on here, you know, one of my big issues, and I hear you echo the same thing without even ever hearing me talk about it, is our education system. Because there's one to tell us And I saying this year, and I remember being in UE in 2013 or 14. And one of the things they try to say to discredit what I was saying is the fact that I don't say thee and thou and thou.
Tell the people where you were studying. Tell them where you were studying, because people just watch you and feel you didn't.
No,
you not learn to know.
well, I learned you don't have to agree or on nothing,
Yeah.
right? At that point in time, I was doing occupational health and safety because that's what I did for a very long time. But at this, what speaking about here, I was actually involved in a craft market with the clothing. But history was the topic because at that time I used to carry DVDs on African history and things. And one of the fellas tell me, one of the students in UE asked me, well, who is them people? I never hear about them. And I tell them plain, if you never hear about Dr. John Henry Clark, more than likely you don't know real African history. Plain and simple.
Right.
That's like saying he's a basketball fan and you know about basketball and thing, but when we say about Michael Jordan and
Kobe,
what? Nah. And he asked me where I went to school. And it's so relevant to know. So I was like, well, I was a proud past people at Success Laventille Composite School. He said, we went after? I said, I went move to Laventille. And we went after? I said, no, that was it. So how you know these things? I say, because I sit down and I read.
Exactly.
And therein just kind of show up more my issue with today's, well, I mean, it's been going on for a long time. I look at this, or I just look at it. The teacher, there's vomit. You always open your mouth and receive that vomit. And the only way for you to get a passing grade is to vomit back that same thing on the paper. You can't add nothing or take away nothing from it, meaning your own ideas on the topic, how you feel about it, the research that you might have done. That is not valid.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Right? Even though you don't agree, it doesn't leave room for you to disagree.
Yes.
Because disagreeing means that you really listen to what the teacher say.
Yes.
You probably went and read the required reading, whatever. You do agree and you have an idea. Because when I was doing the occupational health and safety, it had a apartheid psychology. Well, I couldn't understand for the life of me why psychology is a part of the course. I used to mash up that class. Until the time the lecturer used to come, Mr. Lovelace, can I teach today? You know, because you want to tell us in one breath that our brains are unique. Each one of us is unique, but then you want to tell me, because the first paper is psychology or science. And I tell them, no. You can't put down a science to the three of us here. Because we might agree on this one topic here and disagree on the million other topics. For various different reasons. And to me, our school system does not prepare our young African children for life right outside of school. So I see what you're doing. When Karen mentioned some of the things they just do, and including some of the things you just say there, that's so important for the community, like how you plan to get into our community to do that. I mean, I could see the students are present, their Success Laventille needing this and benefiting from this immensely. I could see you working with people like David Mohammed and them at the Kwame Ture Center, because they have things structured around teaching young children etiquette, how to speak to others, because we lost a real big factor in the African community called respect.
Big.
And all of that tied into the leadership, because I couldn't lose that respect as a young 15, 16-year-old. I cussed it in Success. And I reached Sawa and passing and see Mr. John. And I was like, hey! After Mr. John, we was going to say, no, nothing. And I straight and I'm gone. And we lost that because now you see a group of school children pass here. They know you're elder than them. You don't get no good morning, good evening, just so. And the conversations that they would be having and things. Because I look at it as most of them, nobody not talking to them on this level.
Boy, it's something else. And even that, I mean, leadership in youth and just teaching them what it is to know themselves. Like, a big part of leadership is vision. Having a vision. What you see that you want to do, to pass, to create, to what it is you want to accomplish, what you want to use your life to do. It's a big part. You find people go into businesses, they start businesses, and all they know, they want to make money. That wouldn't carry us so far. That wouldn't carry us so far. You have to have a bigger vision.
But this where you come in, because in 2013, when I started the Nubian experience, there's only two things was in my mind. I started it because what I was looking for wasn't getting us, so well, then maybe I had to provide it.
Right.
And I was starting to make money. I had no kind of, so because I never came across any kind of education to prepare me for
I'll
that.
tell you this, I'm actually prepping next year to launch a real life business school. Because I study business from POB, back in success, all the way up to the master's level. And I come to recognize when I hit the ground running, run different businesses, most of those business teachers never run a business.
No. Nothing I did in POB that I passed in CX. I have my certificate that I passed POB. And it had nothing one day in the 8 years that I in business that I could pull back and say, hey,
I'm telling you. And to teach people the real on the ground running a business and making sure it's successful. Because it's more than just those theories. Those theories help to a certain extent. But what does it look like in real practice? How do you understand your market? How do you market? How do you get clients? How do you manage your finances?
Yeah, we're going on stuff. We just need to take a quick break.
Yeah, we're coming back. We're coming back.
Right?
Yeah.